Welcome to Daily Lenten Reflections with Father Stephan Alexander and the Parish of St. Martin de Porres, Coryal. For these reflections, we're using the Ascension Lenten Companion. We invite you to journey with us throughout this Lenten season.
Consecrated. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Thursday of the 5th week of Lent. Today we shift our attention to the gospel that awaits us this coming Sunday. Next week is not just any week, it is Holy Week. The word holy comes from the same root as sacred or consecrated. To consecrate means to set apart. Things that are sacred, things that are holy, are consecrated. They are set apart. The Bible reveals many examples of how God consecrated people, places, and things to His service. God has also consecrated time. There are specific moments that are set apart because they are holy. For example, we read in Genesis how God created all things and rested on the seventh day. In establishing the Sabbath, God set apart one day of the week that would be reserved for the sacred. In establishing the Sabbath as consecrated, God established a rhythm for living that reminds us that time needs to be reserved for the sacred. The name Holy Week indicates that there is a special time that is sacred. It is set apart from the other weeks of the year so that we can celebrate the sacred. It is not like the other weeks. It is not supposed to feel like any other week of the year, even the weeks of Lent. Many of us struggle with the reality of the Sabbath because we struggle to understand why God established the Sabbath. When we hear that God rested, we can be tempted to think that Sunday is simply a day of rest. This limited understanding allows us to look at Sunday not much differently from Saturday. Sunday then becomes just another day of rest and recreation. God did not establish the Sabbath merely for rest. No, He consecrated this day and set it apart from the other days for us to live in rhythm with the sacred. If the Sabbath is not understood as consecrated, then it will not feel any different from the other days of the week. However, if we properly understand the Sabbath as set apart, then it has a different rhythm. Likewise, Holy Week is consecrated and set apart. It is not supposed to feel like any other week because it is not like any other week. It is holy. It is consecrated, and it is set apart precisely because of the events we celebrate during it, namely the suffering, death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. If next week is going to be different, it will require us to rethink the way we approach Holy Week. It is not simply an opportunity to go to church a few extra times during the week. It is an opportunity to set apart a time to enter into the reality of Jesus' suffering, death, and resurrection. Let's begin thinking now about how we are going to consecrate the days of Holy Week. How are we going to make the most of this sacred time God has given us? Going deeper. First, read the Gospel for Palm Sunday, Mark chapter 14 verse 1 to chapter 15 verse 47. Next, check your parish website or bulletin for the Holy Week schedule of services. Begin looking at your calendar so you can make space for God.